Greetings, everybody. Greetings. This is Joseph here, also known as DJ Spin So Nice for Record School. Hope everyone is well. Video is for a worldwide audience, even though I'm broadcasting live from Toronto. I wanted to talk about some observations that I've made about two things in education, which is leadership and wellness. Two things in education, leadership and wellness, and how the parameters or the examples of leadership and wellness are set and are different based on the settings that I find myself in, based on the settings we find ourselves in, based on the buildings we find ourselves in. So basically, what I've noticed is that leadership and wellness look different when you're in community and versus when you are in the institutions. And this is based on my observations and also a lot of my reading. So one of the texts I've been talking about and looking at closely is this one called Critical Pedagogy by Molefi Kete Asante. Shout outs to him. Shout outs to, this is the second edition published from Universal Rights Publications. Universal Rights Publications. They have a great website for a lot of different Afrocentric books. One of the things Asante says is that for the revolutionary pedagogy approach, which is an Afrocentric identity affirming approach, educators need to take an approach where they love the culture and the identity of their students. They love the culture and the identity of their students. So let's start with what I've observed about the institutional definitions or parameters about wellness. Meaning these are what the policies say, right? Wellness is about mental health supports and a lot of different things. What I noticed that wellness doesn't include is any connection to community. So, for example, the institutional definition of wellness can be, mental health supports, connecting to students' identities. But if the environments and the cultures and the communities that those students come from are not welcomed in the school, that's something that's according to the institution, wellness can still take place. Meaning the institution looks like the institutional definition can still be like, wellness is something that can take place even though we don't really welcome families or we don't welcome parents into the building or we don't listen to them or we don't have a relationship with them. In the community, that ain't gonna happen. So luckily this weekend, my daughters and I, actually and my mother, two examples of what wellness should look like. So on the weekend, my daughters and I participated in a fundraiser where we were helping to put care packages together for kids who are in foster care. And we were fed. We met a lot of other educators and kids and families there. We even got to meet some really interesting politicians. So what that showed me was that there's no limit to the people and connections that you can make. And there's some really cool conversations that took place in that setting. And that is what wellness looks like, in my opinion, because the kids were taken care of, the grown-ups were taken care of and working together and learning from each other. It was relational. And there were no limits, you know what I mean? It was based on whoever wanted to push forward, whoever wanted to welcome others into the space and into the work. So what the community has showed me, what certain, thinkers have showed me is that wellness can't be separated from people's relationships. It can't be. And then leadership. So wellness can't be separated from people's relationships in the buildings and then the relationships that expand outside the buildings, meaning the students' relationships with their families and their friends and their community members. Wellness is connected to that. You can't have one without the other, in my opinion and in my observation. Second thing I'm observing is about leadership. And in my opinion, leadership comes from understanding in my opinion, in my observation and in my work with others in the communities, in schools, leadership comes in all forms and fashions, but it does have to have some relationships in there and the understanding of, flexibility so that people can feel supported. And also, I think you can lead from behind sometimes. You can also lead, if I don't, I think, but what I've observed is different types of leadership. You can lead from behind. And this is the efficacy piece. You can lead from behind. You can lead, side by side, parallel as a as a a cooperative. And real leadership to make transformational change has to be part of what the communities value. So I was at a tea party with my mother and another professor that I'd met, and they're both Kenyan women. And she said, "Come on over, let's have some tea on Sunday." And we met her family, and these are kind of the seeds of leadership, because I guess as a leader, this other professor, she welcomed us and she treated us as equals, and we shared stories. So the hierarchy piece was thrown out the window. Versus, like, I've seen the institutions that we are influenced by. you know the leadership parameters there are very specific, and it's interesting to observe both. I'll just say that I did get to speak with another great leader on the weekend. His name is Mark Medley. What's up, Mark? He runs a website and a radio show called The Reader Circle, and we talked about books like Revolutionary Pedagogy. You should check out Mark A. Medley. I'll put his information in the notes. But yeah, tell me what you think about the differences between leadership and wellness when it's based on being in the community versus based on being in the institutions, which we know are oftentimes very, very Eurocentric, very hierarchical, very based on capitalist or industrialist frameworks. So thank you so much. I would love to know what you think, and yeah, tune into Record School. Oh, speaking of records, I'm listening to Karen White at the moment. What's the connection? Wellness, right? So her classic track is called Superwoman. I'm not your superwoman. In my opinion, she's defining wellness for herself in this song, produced by Babyface, right? Which is why it's so good. But her voice, her character in the song, basically is saying, "I do all these things for my man. My man is not appreciative, and I'm done with it. I'm not gonna live up to your expectations anymore. Your expectations of a superwoman, that's not me." And so she's defining who she is and who she is not. So big up Karen White for modeling wellness and healthy boundaries for yourself, and big up to y'all. I'll talk with you soon. Peace out.